Hello everyone, Grandmaster Var Akobian here, and I'm here with my student Jonathan Macting, and we're going to take a look at the games for 1000 IM tournament in St. Louis. In this round number 4 game, we have WGM Tokhirjonova from the US Olympic team against IM Justus Williams. So this is a very good matchup here. So let's take a look how this game developed. E4 from Tokhirjonova, C5 immediately. Knight F3, E6. So we have the Sicilian defense, and they call this the Khan setup. But now C4 played. C4 played in this position, and now goes Knight F6. Knight C3. Queen C7. So we have the, Jonathan, we're back to the hedgehog system here, okay?
Yeah, good fighting chances for black, you said.
Yeah. Now F4, D6. Bishop E2, B6. The idea behind it is to put a bishop on B7 and try to put the setup. We talked about this. There was an earlier round that we saw happening here. So it's a good setup here. I quite like this. So now bishop E3, bishop B7, bishop F3, trying to protect the center, and knight B7, hedgehog. Here we are. We have the hedgehog here. So if you're wondering, like, why, for example, he's not taking this pawn, right? You're like, oh, that's looks like a free pawn. But this is a poison pawn. If you take this pawn, Jonathan, you're going to run into a move rook c1 here. And now discovery knight d5 is coming out to hit your queen. And if you go here, simply e5, and that's just going to simply bust open the position here. b7 is hanging. If you take, it's hanging. So if you take here, queen takes f3.
Did they play like d5 or something?
Well, d5 loses the knight.
Oh,
so you can do that. And if you go here, actually, after simply castling, the pin is no longer there. Knight takes d5 is coming. So it's just going to be a huge advantage here for white. So that did not happen. And that's why you can't really take the pawn on c4. That pawn, if you take on c4, that's going to be a taboo. Okay. So you want to make sure you don't take that pawn. So it goes here. Knight d7, castle, rook c1. Again, you still don't want to take the pawn, because if you do, you run into a solid move e5, hitting your bishop. Bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, takes. And now actually it's very clever. It's a discovery. You just need to make a discovery attack on the queen. So you just go here. And now the queen cannot move. If the queen moves, you just take on c8. And if it takes here, you simply go rook c1. Takes bishop c1. And if you take, actually, there's a very important check first, forcing you here, and just simply take on d4, and pieces are not moving. If the bishop was out, you're castled, you can try to fight. But in this situation where rook is stuck and the bishop and king cannot go anywhere, so
it's gonna be like b3, bishop a3 kind of ideas.
Yeah, b3, bishop a3, knight c6, and on top as well too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why you don't take the pawn on c4. Once again, we see this pawn is just poisonous. Now b3, white decides to protect it. Knight c5, putting pressure on e5. Queen c2 here, Tokhirjonova defending the center, and now castles. And here we go. Look at this. Look at this aggressive play by the U.S. Women's Olympian player. Wow. Immediately trying to play g5, attacking IM Justus Williams. h4 for Tokhirjonova. Now g5 is coming. Oof.
That's a wall.
Knight h7. Okay. Tell you a thing. If you're going to put a knight on h7, this is not a good defensive mechanism. Okay? You're very likely to get trouble if you're playing a move like a knight h7 here. Okay?
Is he trying to play g5 or something? Strike out?
No, maybe. But here, what you got to do is you just got to play g5 without thinking, because you're just going to clump this knight here in the corner on h7. It just looks terrible.
Yeah.
And like rook e8, you just bring the queen on g2. I mean, this is just a terrible position.
So just don't underdevelop your pieces. That's the lesson here.
No, you got to keep pushing. That's the important lesson. Because he goes here, he's attacking your h4 pawn. Yeah. So you have to do something. But instead, she played b4, which is probably still okay. But you kind of want to stick with the one pawn here, because now here and then g5. This is still very good. Take. e5. Black is trying to do something. I mean, he could have played rook f8, but it's just a very, very passive position, you know. B2, and white is in real control here. So e5, knight f5, queen d8. She had the right idea, but just she dropped it one move early. So in this position, basically the best plan here is just to figure out a way to just give a mate on the h file here. Okay, you just put your pieces and just try to figure out a way to give a mate here. So she played queen g2, but the much stronger is just queen to h2. Okay, the point being, if you say you take here, king g2, you just give everything. You just give the house, you know.
You don't need a house.
Yeah,
You have
now
an RV.
and now look at that.
Oh,
Fixing him, putting that wedge pawn right there, okay? And now queen takes here.
not it.
There.
Oof.
Yeah, this is very strong actually, because now you're ready. You're ready to play.
Is this like thematic or just like something that happened in this game, particularly like being able to push those 4 pawns on the king side like that?
It's just you always want to try to, if the h file is open and you can put 2 pieces on h file, it's going to give you very good chances to do a mate.
Yeah.
So it's something that you want to look forward to. Takes. Take might be the best option, but you can just play bishop e2 and now you also have ideas such as rook f3, rook h3, bringing more pieces in. But she played here, and I think here where things started to maybe okay here. So apparently king f2 is a very strong move. Wow, that just lost the advantage. Critical moment in the game. King f2, still giving white some serious advantage. Takes h. And the blocking is just getting made, it looks like. Boom. Boom.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, you're just giving mate here. The king is just not going to escape. Okay. And your queen h8 is just not going to be able to escape anywhere. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So take rook h1. Takes. Yeah, that would be the best option here. But after g6, unfortunately, she just took on d6, and now attack is pretty much gone. And now we see a lot of problems for white actually, because you got this guy is hanging, and your strong attack is gone. Okay, that king f2 was just such a beautiful idea there. Now I put it here, c4, and here actually just a one move blunder. The thread of the game has been lost, and black is doing fully fine, and she just completely blundered with knight d5 move, forgetting that take, and you cannot take back with a pawn. You're dropping f4, and if takes here.
Half move blunder. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's really tough loss for Tokhirjonova, because she was basically about to win the game. If she had just put the queen on h2 and play king g2, rook h1, she would have had a good chance to win. And even here, if she had played the move king f2, rook h1, she would have still had very good chances. But again, 2 inaccurate moves. Actually, the last one was a blunder, and then black is winning now, and because just up a piece here and went on to win the game. So again, you have to be very careful when you have this important moments, okay? So Jonathan, most important thing we learn from this, concentration, okay? If we have a good position, winning position, it's not enough. You still have to be very focused in the game, okay? So you have to be 100% over the board.
One question is, how do you avoid half move blunders, or how do you prepare so that you can? Is it just concentration? Is that the number one thing?
Concentration. There is no really a recipe that I can tell you that, hey, you do this, you're not going to blunder. I blunder. Everybody blunders.
Yeah, it's just a reduction. It's a reduction.
You just have to make sure you don't blunder as often as your
opponent. I guess that's the question. Is like, how can we reduce our blunders?
You just have to be very focused, and you have to make sure you're calculating well. Your head is straight. You're doing your tactics. So you have to make sure you're fresh over the board. If you're tired, if you're not functioning properly, you're gonna blunder and make mistakes. So make sure when you go fresh to your game, okay? Don't be tired or do other things before the game, because you make sure you're 100% focused on your game.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed this game, and we'll be back with more videos for you. See you soon.